Hello, and welcome back to the studio. I'm Dr. Wiggo, and today on Dr. Wiggo and Books, I'm going to talk about 3 series that I've been reading. It was just going to be about one, but it's going to be really short for reasons which will become obvious. So I'm going to add on the 2 I'm currently reading as well as this main series, which is the Children of Time series by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Amazing book series. The reason I felt I had to rush to get this done is because the 4th book just came out. So I figured now was a good time to talk about it. Because if you talk to anybody, they'll talk about the Children of Time trilogy. Well, it's not a trilogy anymore. Adrian Tchaikovsky is a science fiction writer who's been around for a while. He's best known for the Shadows of the App series, which I have not read, and the Children of Time series. He was born in England in 1972 of Polish descent. Tchaikovsky studied zoology and psychology at the University of Reading, which will serve him well when he's writing these books right here. But he dropped out of the University of Reading and worked as a legal executive until 2018 when he became a full-time writer finally. He started writing in 1996, submitting stories to Xenos, which is a UK sci-fi magazine, and his first novel was published in 2008, The Empire in Black and Gold, part of the Shadows of the App series. In fact, his first 10 novels and 4 short story collections were all in the Shadows of the App series. But then he wrote Children of Time, which was published in 2015, followed by Children of Ruin in 2019, Children of Memory in 2022, and Children of Strife, which just came out like a month or 2 ago. And I'm a little stuck here because there are some huge spoilers that would probably ruin your experience of reading the book. And I've looked at a lot of reviews on YouTube where they, in fact, do that spoiler. I'm not going to do that. But that doesn't leave me with a lot to say. But I'll go by the description on the actual book, which is the last remnants of the human race left a dying Earth, desperate to find a new home. Following their ancestors' star maps, which will be a big plot point, they discover a world that had been terraformed thousands of years earlier and prepared for life. But all is not right in this new Eden. The planet is not waiting for them pristine and unoccupied. New masters have turned it from a refuge into mankind's worst nightmare. Now 2 civilizations are on a collision course and must fight to survive. This is all true, but a lot of this happens much later in the book. The first part of the book talks about the original terraformers from thousands of years ago and focuses very heavily on them. This crazy scientist came up with a brilliant idea, she thought. But as they're terraforming the planet, she says, well, we'll introduce life and then use this nanovirus she designed to fast forward their evolution and run them through millions of years of evolution in just a few thousand years. And she brought with her a bunch of apes, which were going to be put down the planet and sent through this evolution. So this could have been Planet of the Apes, except the apes didn't make it to the planet. And so when the nanovirus hit, it uplifted different species. Not the ones they intended. And the big spoiler here is what species it is, which is why I won't go into it. But this is also where Tchaikovsky's background in zoology and psychology are really important, because his zoology lets him create these alien species that are based off of species we kind of know about, but vastly evolved. And of course, his psychology follows this crazy scientist as she gets even crazier. Oh, it's a wild ride. And that's really all I can say about it without some major spoilers. It's hard science fiction, and then it was followed by another book which takes place elsewhere and is a different uplifted species, non-human. And in Children of Memory, the species from these first 2 books have become spacefaring and come to visit a planet of humans, and things don't go that well. But then we get to Children of Strife, which is where these same spacefaring aliens, who have picked up a few more aliens along the way, come to yet another planet that was terraformed thousands of years ago by several crazy scientists who have created a dystopia that's just beyond measure. It's really a horrible, horrible planet. Those humans fleeing from the dying Earth in the first book, well, another group of them also left at the same time and come to this world. Oh, it gets ugly. These are 4 outstanding science fiction books. I'd call them hard science fiction, except there's a lot of stuff in there that's kind of way beyond what we could do. But of course, the people that do this terraforming are thousands of years ahead of us. And then the people that come along later are thousands of years after that, but come from a dying Earth where they don't really know all the science that their ancestors from thousands of years earlier did. It's just a phenomenal study in human and alien animal psychology. I can't recommend it highly enough, but I really can't say much more about it without spoiling things, and you're really better off not knowing what's coming, like all good fiction. So to make this video a little more interesting, I hope, I'm going to talk about the 2 series that I'm reading right now. And I'm always reading 2 books at a time. I read one set of books in hard copy, and then I read another set of books on my phone in Apple Books for when I'm at the doctor or out around the town, or just any time I'm just killing time and I need to read, I have a book with me. So the book I'm currently reading in hard copy is from James S.A, and it's The Faith of Beasts, which is the sequel to The Mercy of Gods. And The Faith of Beasts, again, just came out like a month ago, and I hadn't heard of it. But then I found out it was a sequel. The reason I was so interested is because James S.A. wrote The Expanse, one of the coolest science fiction series of all time, and made into a TV series, first on the Sci-Fi Channel and later on Amazon. And a video about that will be linked below because I reviewed those books and that TV show a while back. But these guys are amazing writers. Oh, and I said these guys because it's not actually one guy. It's Daniel Abraham and Ty Franck, who write together as James S.A. And these books are as different from The Expanse as you can get. The Expanse all took place in our space around Earth, and it was all humans for the most part. It was humans living on Earth and on Mars and in the asteroid belt. But in this book, the humans are living on a planet where they are not natives. One of the central things at the beginning of the book, you're following a group of scientists who are trying to figure out ways to make the life forms of this planet compatible with human kind of physiology so that they can eat and drink and do stuff like that. And it's a fascinating story. And then the aliens come, and that's all I'm going to say. And the second book moves the action to yet another planet and then other planets after that. And it's just a phenomenal thing. And there's psychological stuff and dozens of alien species, possibly hundreds. It's just littered with aliens. That's what I'm reading in hard copy. On my phone, what I'm reading is a series called The Chronicles of St. Mary's by Jodi Taylor. This series started in 2013 and is still going, 40 titles and counting. Although most of those titles are novellas and short stories, there's currently 15 books with then sub-books, so when you go look at the listing. So there'll be book 9, which is a full-fledged book for like $10. And then there's 9.5, 9.6, 9.7, and a lot of those sell for 99 cents. She writes long form and then short form. Now, I don't want to spoil a lot about this either, but the premise comes out in the very first book, which came out like 10 years ago. There's actually a 0.5 novella, which is a prequel, but it actually came out later. You shouldn't read them in numerical order strictly, but you can. Where was I? The premise of the Chronicles of St. Mary's is a bunch of historians have access to time travel. Yep. They use their time machines to go back and study history and like take videos of major historical events and pictures and recordings. And one of their side hustles to make extra money is to see what happened to relics in real time in the past and then come back to the present and discover them and then sell them to museums and stuff like that. Fascinating stories. And it's a little tongue-in-cheek. The main character is a woman who just constantly gets into trouble and she wisecracks all the time. I love these books. Again, I had read about half of them, but then I guess I caught up and stopped. And then recently I was looking for more books for my phone, and I found that there was a whole bunch more because there weren't 40 when I stopped reading them, but there are now. Jodi Taylor, The Chronicles of St. Mary's. There will be links below to the Kindle and Amazon pages for all of these books. The Children of Time series, the 2 James S.A. books, and of course all the Jodi Taylor books. I recommend all 3 of these series. And I recommend them basically in the order I told you about them. Use my sponsored links below to go buy them and make me a little bit of change and find some great books for you to read. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Bye-bye. Now I got to go find something to talk about for next week, and it won't be books. Thanks for staying to the end. Bye-bye.